All right. Welcome to the Primitive Republic podcast. We're here at the Western Hunt Expo. I'm here with Justin, Josh, and Paul. Justin owns Razco holsters. Josh owns, well, I always called it Montana Bow Sling, but
Creative Outdoors is the company, but yeah, Montana Bow Sling is the main product.
okay, so Creative Outdoors. Okay. And then Paul owns FHF gear. And You're probably going to hear some background noise because we are in an expo and somebody was a little bit late. It probably would have been quieter.
Guilty.
He needed more coffee.
I did. Snacks.
His snacks and jack his jaws and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to get some good products out here. They're right behind us. I'm here at the 6 a.m. booth and been working over there with Dark Timber and 6 a.m. and Gator Grip. And so, been talking back and forth and all that kind of stuff. So got some really interesting products, and we'll probably, just talk a little bit. So, Justin, you want to go ahead and talk about your product? It's one of the better products that I need to buy, and I've used like several times of a buddy's.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, so I'm Justin. I own Razco, and my main product that I'm here selling is my bino harness holster. Paul and I kind of worked together several years ago, and we were trying to solve the issue with people they wanted to wear their pistol on their chest and also their bino harness. So we kind of tried a couple things, and Paul hooked me up with a harness to mess with, and so now we have a holster that hooks to the bottom of his bino harness, and then I kind of worked into a universal model that hooks into the other ones. But yeah, that's the main product, and it's getting a lot of traction, and people are finding it super comfortable, and the more people find out about it, it's just growing and growing. So yeah, super excited about that.
Admittedly, I don't have an FHF harness.
I know a guy.
I have an Alaska Guide. But yeah, so my buddy's got the same weapon that I've got, and so I always use his Razco. So one of these days I'm gonna have to just break down and get my own. So.
Yeah, you definitely have to come see me. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So did you guys like collaborate together when you were coming up with?
Yeah, so I have another buddy that lives in Bozeman that does some military gear contracting stuff, and I came down to work with him and pick his brain and kind of use his tooling, and then he knew Paul, so he introduced me to Paul, and he kind of gave me the idea to hang it underneath. I was trying to put it behind, and he just saw the thing and like, what if we put it here? And kind of went from there and designed it and made it work.
Yeah, it worked out well. We had this harness out for a couple of years prior, and in fact, the loops that Justin's using to hang that holster from, I had already started integrating into the harness for other reasons, to hang a hand muff or some other accessories, and it just worked out. He already had kind of a base plan going, and it just seemed like the obvious place to hang it. Our bino harness rides typically higher and tighter than most other harnesses, so it gives you a little more room for that holster, and kind of forget it's under there. It's so comfortable.
Yep.
So
that is the one problem that I can say I have with my Alaska Guide is, because you got so much on front. I love the holster. I love, all the accessory pockets and all that, but it's just like, it does like hang lower, and, when I have a weapon on there, it just seems to hang even lower, you know.
Well, it's definitely a bigger product. Ours was originally developed just to be super minimal and low profile. And over the years, I used to make them all myself one at a time. And as they, you'd take custom orders, and guys would ask you to add a pocket or create a spot for this here and add it and make it bigger. And so I used to refer people to Alaska Guide and say, that product already exists. Go buy one that has got it dialed in. And so we'd send people their way, and if that was the product they're looking for. But if you want something high and tight and low profile, and like ours is modular, so you can kind of set it up based on what you're doing or what season it is, or shed season. I don't need my rangefinder there, so why carry the extra weight and pocket? And if I'm not hunting bear country, I can dump the bear spray or the holster and not worry about it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good tip if you're not functionally retarded. Yeah, so if you need any sewing done, Justin lives at what's your address?
Yeah, yep. You can get a hold of me. I'll sew it up for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of weapon holders and stuff like that, so Montana Bow Sling, I ran their your guys' bow sling all last year, and
Appreciate that.
yeah, I mean that thing
Love it.
saved my arms
I love
big
it.
time. Actually, we went on a hog hunt in Georgia, and you're like walking across these big like mud flats, and oh man, it sucks. But it's fun and everything. But if you're carrying a bow and you're constantly falling down in the mud and everything, you got to clean all the mud out of your sights and
They
everything
get
like
heavy.
that. And
Those bows get heavy.
yeah, so I had two other buddies with me, and I'm like hooking it up to the sling and everything, and they're like, like cleaning all the mud off, and they're like, "Where do I get those?" And I was like, "It's a secret."
Trade
I was like,
secret.
"I
I
will
ran
sell
into
it
the
to you
same
for
thing.
double the price."
I ran into a guy. I actually called him in elk season. I called him in, and we ended up hunting together because his truck was closer than mine, and we were going to walk back to his truck, and he's going to drive me to mine. And same thing, I just hung my bow on that hanger, and he just gets this dumbfounded looks like, I need one of those.
Yeah.
And I've had the same sort of instances with both of your guys' products, the Paul's harness and Justin's holster. Like, where, what just happened here? Where did you get that?
Yeah.
I know a couple of guys.
It's amazing, like even with social media and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, like how fast information travels, and like you could see pictures of everything, and then people still don't know about certain products. It's like FHF. Like I've seen you guys like all over the place, and I've still had people. Oh, I don't know about
Yeah,
who's that.
we didn't do any advertising, and it was all word of mouth. I had a day job for years, and quite honestly, didn't know that I wanted any more business. I needed more sleep, and especially when I was doing them myself one at a time. And but as we started growing, we were kind of lucky in that being in Bozeman, and you know the right people are around, and that's kind of how it took off quickly. Randy Newberg, Steve Ranella, those guys started wearing the harness early on, and the early adopters, I guess, so to speak, and it's been a obviously the you can't ask for much better exposure than that, and so we haven't done a lot of advertising, and for a long time, they were wearing another branded harness that I made, and it was my harness just with their main sponsor's logo on the front, and so a lot of people didn't realize it was actually ours, but um, as we have grown, we've put our own brand out front, and definitely trying to get a little more exposure as we go.
So did you search them out, or did they just happen across your stuff, or how did
No,
that
I
work?
think well, the first, like Randy, I had made the first custom one of these came. It was an order for a guy who wanted to get away from magnets. He'd had a bad experience with a magnet popping shut at the
Oh
wrong
yeah.
time and scared something away. And he came and said, "Just make me something without magnets." So we did a couple of iterations of it and came up with kind of the first generation. And then we actually went to one of Randy's season premiere parties in Bozeman and walked away from that party with probably 20 orders. So the guy that originally ordered said he'd help me, and we sat there for 20 hours straight and cut webbing and built a bunch of these for these guys. And then Randy showed up, and he's one of the most genuine people I've ever met. He asked to have a couple harnesses so that he could have one for him and one for his hunter, and it was Randy Newberg. I was going to give him one, and he refused. He's like, "No, I'm paying full price, and that way I don't feel obligated to wear it. And if I don't like it, I'm not going to keep wearing it."
Yeah.
And he's worn one ever since. And then quite honestly, I'm not sure how Ranella came across it. I think because I'd made one with a logo on it for a sponsorship for another hunter, and I'm guessing he saw it or got word through the sponsor that that's where he got it, and so he called, emailed me up, and ended up talking with him a little bit and made him a couple custom pouches, and um, those have all kind of caught on. Obviously, it's everybody wants to be like Steve. It seems like,
Yeah.
and
Well, everybody wants to be like the popular guys,
yeah.
you know.
But it's just been the comfort and function of it, and it's. I always tell people it may not look pretty, but it's functional and it works, and um, it's meant to be kind of cover the basics and not. I don't need to put sequins on it, make it look flashy. I just need
Yeah.
it to do what it does.
It's effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very effective.
Well, you came up with the orange design and stuff like that too, right? So
Yep, and again that was another one. I'd had a couple custom requests over the years for the Blaze Orange, and then Ranella again wanted we didn't have him in production, and he wanted an orange one. And Randy the same way. He's like, we're on TV all the time, and people they'll criticize anything they can if they see something, and if they doesn't have it, his jacket's covering part of his bino harness in the wrong shot, it looks like he's not wearing orange, and
yeah,
so we came out with that orange, and that first year we did that, they showed up like right after rifle season, which is kind of the worst time to get orange inventory in, and so it's kind of a slow start on it, but it's now that we've got them in stock, they go out the door pretty quickly, and now I'm at a point. We did this Blaze panel this year, and on the backpack we're launching it here at the show, and then that in conjunction with the harness and a hat, I've got my legal requirement of orange covered, and I don't even have to wear a vest under everything, and
yeah.
saves me a layer. And
Well, and we're all from Montana, so
Yeah.
what is it, 400 square inches, right?
400 visible above
Yeah.
the waist. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. It meets your requirement, and
Yeah.
so what else I mean, I see like on your harness you've got all kinds of accessories, but like bear spray and
Yep.
just
Bear spray holster is kind of. I mean, what I typically carry is rangefinder pouch on one side, bear spray underneath, and then depending on the season, like horn season, I'll drop the rangefinder. We've got a couple GPS pouches. Put the rhino up there. Did a tech pouch last year that's an insulated pouch that you can put a hand warmer in, and quick access to your phone, because everybody's switching to OnX or base maps for mapping, and that's been a pretty popular pouch. Went through some stuff this year where we had to switch production companies, and dropped inventory significantly, and that tech pouch is one of the last ones we're trying to get back into a new production company. It's a pretty technical pouch, and just requires specific technologies to make. So that's one of the last ones we'll get into production. But we added that ability to attach it to the pack, and I think with you can lose the harness and just suspend it right from the load lifters of a backpack. And I know Josh has played around with even attaching his bow sling right to the harness, and I think it would work well in conjunction with that suspension kit.
Yeah.
And I know get all that weight, so you're not ending up with slings on top of slings and harnesses, and when you're trying to take a coat off, you have to put everything on it like a puzzle.
So explain real quick. So you had mentioned Josh's sling. Josh, go ahead and explain like how your sling works and all that.
So, kind of like what Paul's saying, my experience with slings in the past was just this very awkward, in the way thing that I just hated them. So it was trying to figure out a way to, just that old line, there's got to be a better way. Trying to figure out a way to incorporate the things so that it would be comfortable and user friendly, and not not be left behind in the woods as well. So yeah, just one day it kind of clicked on me, like I'm gonna figure out a way to attach this thing right to my hunting pack, and it works very well. It distributes the weight right to the pack. I mean, you can get creative with it and attach it to bino harnesses. It's a little bit trickier, but it does work if you get creative enough with it. But yeah, that's essentially what it does. Is it just attaches right to most hunting packs in a variety of ways and distributes the weight evenly and just makes for a fairly comfortable, efficient way to carry your bow.
Yeah.
You can wrap it around your load lifter. You can wrap it around the carry handle. You can wrap it around the strap that comes down your chest strap. There's probably 50 different ways you can rig it to your bow, and that's the versatility of it. You can make it work for you. I really like that.
And the nice thing
Yeah.
about it is taking your pack off. It's just always connected. You don't. It's just
You don't
like,
have to worry about losing it.
yeah, and it's not an extra layer to put on and
Yeah.
and take off. It's just always connected.
Well, that's smart too, because I drop my pack like quite a bit. Like if I see something real steep and I see something, down in a draw or something like that, I'll drop my pack, and who knows how long you're going to be walking through there. So yeah, that's a good idea. I'll have to figure out doing that.
Yeah.
'cause-
Well, and that's with Josh's. It's just so quick to grab your bow and go, and it's
Yeah.
it's not the steps of unbuckling things and
You're not-
uncovering it. And
You're not unbuckling or unzipping or any of that. It's just grab it.
Trying to find a place to hide it. And yeah, it's worked out pretty well for me. It's been a fun little process. Paul was a big help. The fall that I started making it was the same fall that Justin and him kind of hooked up and started doing their setup. And I had known Paul through a mutual friend. And we had talked a few times prior to that, and I just kind of sent him a message and said, "Hey, what do you think about trying to throw this on your website?" And he was gracious enough to take a shot on me, and him and Jen have been a huge help
Yeah.
with the whole process.
That's awesome.
And then of course met Justin through him, and a lot of
I haven't been a huge.
Justin and I quite aren't friends yet, so
Yeah.
we're working on that.
Yeah.
But
Well, it doesn't help when you're like late.
that's true. That's true.
And then you come back with coffee for yourself, and
No coffee for anyone else.
I'll do better. This is my first podcast.
yeah, so I met you at Park City the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, and thank you, by the way,
You're welcome.
because you saved me the tax. You were like, yeah, well, if you're from Montana, you might just want to get it from me in Montana, so you don't have to worry about the tax. And I was
Yeah,
like, that's a
tax was
It's a
bad
good
down there.
tix,
Yeah.
or that's a good tip. I'm gonna do that. So as soon as I got home, I ordered it. But yeah, I ran the crap out of that thing, like actually all over the United States and in different types of terrain and stuff. So that was pretty cool.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
It means a lot.
and I another thing too is like companies that I like using their stuff and everything like that. I try and tag them and the different things that I do and everything. So
Yeah, you're a good tagger.
yeah.
Notice that.
Well, let's boost the numbers a little bit more. So
Yep.
kind of help out with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so you guys, so Justin, how is it that you came across being able to, well, not being able to, but how did you know how to mold the holsters and all that kind of stuff? YouTube, YouTube
Yeah,
University.
Yeah, it was. I was getting out of the Army, and I was like trying to figure out how to.
Thank you, by the way.
Hey, thank you. I was just trying to figure out what I was going to do when I got out of the Army. I was looking at running my own business and stuff. I didn't really want to have anybody be my boss after being in the Army. I was kind of over that. So, doing the Google searching and the YouTube, and I came across some guys making holsters, and I saw a guy locally that was making some that were not great. I'm like, I think I can make one better than that. So I tried it, and hobby stuff, making it for myself, and then my friends started wanting them, and grew from there. And it was mostly like the normal tactical holsters and stuff. And then I moved back to Alaska when I got out of the Army, and I started wanting a chest holster under my backpack and for my bear gun up there. And there just wasn't a good option that I found, so I started tinkering with that and making that. And then up there, it's so thick in Southeast Alaska, I never used binos. Then I started expanding my hunting and started using binos. Like, how am I gonna make this work? Like, I want my gun on my chest, but I want my binos on my chest too. So then I think I had a Badlands, and I stuffed a holster in the back of that pouch and kind of velcroed it in there, and it worked, but it was junk. And then and that's pretty much when I came down in Montana and worked with my buddy with the laser cutter and all the other materials, and then met Paul. So
Yeah, I think like I don't know. I kind of have this feel like when I was in the military and everything, you got kind of the chest rig and
Yeah.
like all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and it just kind of has that familiar feel.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I hear that a lot from military guys that come to me. And, this is where I carried my pistol when I was serving, and it works great. And Chad with backcountry rookies, and that's kind of where I was. But when I was in Alaska, like I was wearing waders a lot because I was in a boat, so I needed my pistol up on my chest to stay out of the water, and I could still get it while wearing waders or with a backpack. So the chest rig is super versatile in that sense.
in case you got attacked by a giant salmon.
Well, you take a jet boat up to where you are hunting, and you just wear your waders because it's easier to take them on and off all the time. So like moose hunting, you'd wear waders all the time. So yeah,
Alaska's wet.
you got it.
Yeah,
It is terribly wet in
Alaska's wet.
southeast, and
I've heard that. I still haven't been yet, but
It's wet.
I've
It's
heard
very wet
it's
in
like
southeast.
I'm more worried about getting carried away by the mosquitoes there than the bears. But you still got to have something. Like we were moose hunting. Where were we? Up out of Nenana. And I look down and I have a mosquito blanket on me. Like you can't see my waders. There's so many mosquitoes.
crap.
It's just mosquito blanket. Like,
Wow.
this is terrible.
that's how I felt in on my last hog hunt. Like
Yeah,
we went in, was it June or July, something like that,
They
and
get pretty thick.
man, I was stupid. I didn't go with long sleeves, and I was like, I was rubbing mud in that, and there's hogs everywhere.
Yeah, that's gross.
So you can imagine what's in that
Yeah,
mud, but
ugh.
it smelled like it too. But
Yep.
I was willing to do anything to keep those mosquitoes
That's what they
like
do.
off of me.
That's why they rub in the mud, keep the bugs off. So
Yeah,
gross.
yeah.
That's
So
gross, dude.
That is gross.
it's gross, but man, like
Saves the bites.
I got back and like it looked like I had chicken pox.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, closest I've never been to Alaska either. Closest I've been to that's in the breaks in Montana, and
They get pretty bad there.
yeah, it gets bad. Nothing like Alaska, I'm sure, but it's it significantly worse than hunting the mountains where I normally am.
Yeah, that $8 head net was the best investment. Best piece of hunting gear I took on that hunt. Like, saved me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you guys have in the works that you can talk about? Obviously, if you got something like hush hush, you don't want to talk about it. But do you have anything getting ready to come out or anything like that?
Yeah. I'm redoing my backer plate so that the pistol is going to be a little more centered on your chest. People have been requesting that, and it's also going to have the pretty much the industry standard hole pattern that all the the Blade Tech and the Safari Land, all the other holsters. So if you happen to have a gun that I don't make a holster for, you'll be able to go to the store or go online and order one of their holsters, and it'll bolt to that backer plate. So you'll have that functionality, even if it's a gun I don't carry.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good way to cut yourself out of the industry.
Yeah, no. I think that'll.
I think he's good.
Even if I just end up making the backers, I'm
Yeah.
totally fine with that. But people still buy the holster together for the convenience. It's all assembled. So.
Yeah. And you'd said they're all Kydex, right? So.
I'm using Bolteron. It's really similar to Kydex, but it has just a little bit better cold cracking property resistant than Kydex. Any plastic is prone to cracking in the cold. Bolteron just has a slightly better resistance to it than Kydex, so I chose it because I'm mostly doing hunting stuff. So
Gotcha.
I'm planning on coming out with a bino harness because I don't like what's out there. just kidding. No.
You and everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. It seems like there's a bunch of
There's
them
a
here.
pile of them out there. Everybody and their dog has one. No, I'm just trying to come up with something simple again. Just to, my sling attaches to it, to the hunting pack, and I just want to be able to incorporate a rifle sling that attaches in the exact same way or to the bow sling. Unclip the bottom portion, reclip on
That would be.
the rifle portion, and just and have it just kind of a modular system.
Yeah. There's a couple out there, but like I've used a couple, and it's still not quite right for me. It's just I think it's kind of a hard thing to really wrap your mind around.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll have to team up. I have a rifle sling I've prototyped a couple times, but it attaches a little differently than yours, and it's I'm still playing with finding the perfect hardware, and I'm afraid I'm going to end up having to have something specialty made because I can't. So far, I haven't found the exact thing that works the best, but um, trying to get a lot of our products are. I do my best to make them real versatile, so it'll attach to any pack, like that orange panel that I mentioned earlier. It will attach to any pack out there that I've found so far.
Yeah, I've been looking for one of those too, by the way.
And it's just the versatility. I don't want to. I have my certain packs that I've carried over the years, and and industry friends who, I try and work with, but it just makes sense to not necessarily limit myself to one brand, or I don't want to have a proprietary attachment system that basically limits you to, if you want to carry this thing, you have to have that thing first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's that's where I'm at too. I try and make it, I have the universal model that hooks to most others. And it just makes sense to try and work with everybody.
Yeah.
If you can. There's competition, but like we're all on the same freaking team here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and you had said something earlier too, I guess. So I had made that joke, good way to cut yourself out. But if you're using a different type of plastic, you can go to the store, and if Kydex isn't going to hold up in cold weather the way that your product does, that's something really important to note. I mean,
Yeah, some of the like like a Blade Tech, they have more of an injection molded. That stuff has even better properties as far as cold cracking than the Kydex or the Voltron does. So that's another option. Even if it's just you're using it while it's cold. But I've had 20 people come by here and ask for models I don't have, and I probably won't. I don't want to cut them out of being able to have this because this works well. It's a good option for having your gun where you need it. But I'm not necessarily going to get the model of gun the person has, so that's going to be. So I want to try and take care of them that way.
good deal.
Yeah.
Well, last calls. You guys got anything else?
I don't think so. Come by and see us.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely come by.
Well, I got one alibi. Come by and try
Alibi?
and win a holster.
Oh yeah. There
Oh
you go.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so you can come by the Razco booth and
shoot a grizzly in the nose.
yeah, we got a little laser game. You got to quick draw and try and shoot fast. So
Yeah. So what was the time to beat?
yesterday was .2 was the fastest. This young man came by and just totally smoked everybody.
Yeah.
It
Was
was
14,
ridiculous.
15 years old?
Yeah, young, super
Good
young.
God.
He had short arms, so it was like fast. I don't know. So I'm gonna make it a little harder today, just to widen the playing field. So come by, give it a shot. You might win a holster.
Awesome. Good deal. Appreciate it, fellas.
Thanks.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Yep.